Tell him I got the juice.
Let's check out Albaner Eugene, I believe. If you guys haven't heard this guy, man, this dude, this brother, I found him doing relationship content, and this brother here is something special. So it seems like this is a message on broken trust. So let's check this out.
What I've learned is when there's a breach, when trust has been broken, what I've learned, this goes for men and women. You have to understand it takes such a long time to build trust in one moment to destroy it all. You have to be willing to do whatever it takes to earn the trust back. Hear me. I don't mean, someone constantly testing you and it almost feels like a never ending journey of earning the trust. I'm not saying that. This is what I've learned. Someone can decide to forgive you, say, you know what, I'm going to give you another chance. Someone can decide to come back together, but that doesn't mean they're not going to be triggered no more. It doesn't mean that they're not going to be affected when they see signs, or they may have a night where they can't stop thinking about the breach. They can't stop thinking about the betrayal. And you may have to deal with emotions. You may have to deal with anger. You may have to deal with frustration. You may have to deal with scenarios where you may say, bro, that happened last year. Come on, that happened mad long ago. I thought we was done with that. What I've learned is you got to be open to all of that. You got to understand when there was a breach, and even if someone takes you back, or even if someone decides to still be friends, still be in that romantic relationship, still be in that marriage, see, you have to be, if you value that relationship and you're saying you acknowledge the mistake you made, you acknowledge the bad decision you made, you have confessed or admitted to the wrong in the relationship. When there was a breach, you have to be open to being patient, to being understanding, and saying, you know what? I know you're triggered, and I'm sorry again for the breach. And I understand how the breach has deeply affected our relationship. Watch this. You can ask this beautiful question and code it with this beautiful statement. If there's anything that I can do that can restore some level of security or stability to our relationship after I broke your trust, please let me know. And I am willing, here's the statement, and I'm willing to do whatever is needed. That's how much I value this relationship. Ask that person, is there anything I can do that can start the journey of restoration, and let them know I'm willing to do whatever it takes.
Man, see, I don't even have nothing to say because like that was beautiful. That was beautiful. I've often been met with people who are like, "Yo, I got trust issues," and trust issues is a huge deal when it comes to relationships. Of course, you want to build trust and be able to trust somebody is going to remain close to you, honor you, right? Honor the relationship, respect the boundaries in the relationships that you create. And oftentimes, a lot of the people that we've encountered in our past have a way of breaking that trust through things that they did, whether they didn't mean what they said, they were inconsistent, they hurt us and cut us deeply. And when it comes to trust issues, I'm going to say something that might be a little challenging, but I think it's worth the statement. Sometimes, a lot of the times that we mention this idea of trust issues, if we really think about what broke the trust or what we felt broke the trust, sometimes it's over some really small things. Like we think somebody betrayed our trust because they didn't get back to us on a timetable or time frame we expected them to. We feel as if they weren't who we wanted them to be, who we expected them to be in certain spaces and moments. And so because of that, we now take that in as if our trust has been breached. And here's a challenge that I want to give to my brothers and sisters if you are in this space, especially being a Christian, because I don't think that it's healthy to walk around with trust issues. I think it's important not to, and I'm not trying to minimize it. I'm actually trying to actually lead you to a place where you're willing to get an understanding on why trust issues are such a struggle for you. Where did it come from? What wound is this speaking from? And now being able to understand that background, get the healing we need to now, not saying that we are now going to go from trust issues to no trust issues, but just understanding what it actually means to trust somebody and being able to trust other people to be who they've shown us to be, right? So I want to get to the place where I'm trusting other people to be who they've shown me to be. This helps me not put unrealistic expectations on somebody who is incapable of upholding them, because then I'm hurt, right? Not to necessarily avoid disappointment, but why would I willingly add on disappointment when this is someone who isn't capable of actually upholding such an expectation from me, specifically for this relationship? So sometimes we hold on to this trust issues as a badge of honor, so much so that we walk around singing Drake trust issues all the time. But I want you to just consider that maybe I am expecting somebody to be a certain way for me in order for me to feel comfortable to love them, welcome them, appreciate them, and walk with them. And if that is the case, I think we want to just reconsider what it actually means to trust people. And we want to reconsider that real, genuine love for somebody does not equate to them having to be a certain way for me to feel okay with then loving them, accepting them, and walking towards them, approaching them, doing life with them, building a relationship with them in any kind of capacity. Anytime I have to become dependent on somebody to be a certain way for me to love them, I am not actually walking in a formality of love. I'm walking in straight selfishness. Because the moment you no longer uphold what I thought or what I think you should do, who you should be, then the relationship falls to pieces. Instead of actually saying, I acknowledge who you are, I acknowledge where you are, and I can accept you as you are. And because I have an understanding of who you are, where you are, I can now also set reasonable expectations so that way I can continuously expect you to be who you've shown me to be and we grow together. That I think has a lot of power. Instead of saying, I want you to be this for me, I expect you to be this for me. And the moment you aren't this for me, then the love is now withdrawn, kindness withdrawn, compassion withdrawn. I no longer want to deal with that. And so then we walk around because of that with trust issues. Oh, I can't trust him. I can't trust him because he never does this for me. She never does that for me. She never treats me this way. She never treats me. Now, again, I'm not saying to stay in relationships that are just ill will and they treat you poorly. That's not my message at all. But sometimes we take small things that actually don't have to have such a great impact on the relationship or on us individually, and we blow it up and we make it a bigger deal than it has to be. So I would say to be mindful of what you label as trust issues, because it's possible it's not trust issues, it's selfishness issues, because you want that person to be a certain way in order for them to now receive the love you want to give them. So now the love you give isn't even legitimate because it's not based on who they are, it's based on what they do for you. And now it's shaky. So be mindful of that is all I would suggest to you, to be mindful what you label as trust issues. In accordance to this video, I love what he said. In the moments where that trust is breached, it takes a while to build it and it takes one moment to break it. And you do have to work to build that trust back. Trust isn't easily given, it's earned. And those moments where reassurance is necessary, those moments where, those thoughts and remembrance of when that trust was breached and you're slowly journeying back to what that relationship once was or even better, you're going to be a part of the healing. And some of that stuff is going to be thrown your way. And if you're actually honestly willing to repair the relationship, then you accept that. You want to work through that in order to earn that person's trust once more. And you recognize through the breaking of that trust how valuable having their trust is and why it's not worth it to throw it away for whatever it was thrown away for. And I am willing, as he mentioned in this blanket statement, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to repair this relationship and honor it the way that it ought to be. So with broken trust and trust issues, there's two sides, right? We want to be mindful of this. Be careful what you're labeling trust issues. And then in legitimate places where your trust was broken from somebody in a relationship that you honored, you loved, you appreciated, you genuinely respected and enjoyed, it is a decision to be made on repairing the relationship. It's not mandatory. Please don't hear forgiveness conflated with reconciliation, because forgiveness is simply saying that I am no longer willing to allow this to hold on to me, right? Reconciliation is saying, okay, now we can actually look to repair that, but that doesn't mean that you have to. But upon the decision to repair this relationship, please keep in mind that you will be a part of the healing, and you must be willing to submit to that and be willing to do whatever it takes, barring obviously abusive behaviors and misuse behaviors and those kinds of things. You're going to have to be willing to show up and show out that you mean what you say, and wanting to gain that person's trust back and honoring that individual and getting to the place of honoring that relationship again. Thank you so much for joining me in this clip. This is from a recent live stream that I have just done. If you want to check that out, click somewhere on the screen, and there you can catch the full replay along with so much more content we've got here for you, learning how to navigate and grow healthy, happy, whole, and biblical relationships. I'll see you over there.